stand up for our prayer. Bow your head and close your eyes. Let us all pray. Okay, class, remain standing for our energizer. Okay, class, let's all sing Roll Over the Ocean, Roll Over the Sea. Ready, sing! It's me, it's you, it's us who build community. It's me, it's you, it's us who build community. It's us who build community. La la la. Roll over the ocean, roll over the sea. Roll over the ocean and the deep blue sea. Very good! Okay, class. Please pick some paper under your chair. Then arrange your chair. Okay? Are you guys done? So, good afternoon, class. Okay, you may now take your seats. Okay, class. Who are absent today? Okay, very good. So, before we proceed, let's have a recap. So, class, who among you can still remember what was our last topic? Kate. Very good. Okay. When we say food chain, the transfer of solar energy from plants to animals and eventually to the decomposers when they die is called a food chain. A food chain is composed of animals eating green plants and of plants being eaten by other organisms. Okay, so class, before we proceed to our next topic, let's have some activity that would make you more excited about our new lesson. Are you guys ready? Alright. Okay, class, let's divide you into 4 groups, and each group will have 5 members. Okay, here's your activity. So, let's read the instruction together. Arrange the different puzzle pictures and identify their names. Paste it in manila paper and present it on front. Okay, guys? So, for doing your activity, here's our rubrics. We have time duration, proper arrangement of picture, and the total score. Okay, class, for doing your activity, here's our criteria. The first group will be given 5 points. Then the second is 4 points. Then 3 points for the third group. And for the last group is only 2 points. Then, if you arrange the pictures in proper way, this would be the equivalent points for you. 5 points if all the pieces of picture are arranged properly. Then 4 points if there are less wrong placement of picture. 3 points if there are more improper placement of picture. And then 2 if the picture is not recognized. Okay, class, I repeat. In doing your activity, here's our criteria. So, for the time duration, for the first group who would pass their task, they will be given 5 points. Second group, 4 points. The third group, 3 points. And for the last group would only be 2 points. Then, for the proper arrangement of pictures, 5 points if all the pieces of picture arranged properly. Then, 4 points if there are less wrong placement of the picture. Then 3 points if there are more improper placement of the picture. And then 2 if the picture is not recognized. If you already received your materials, don't open it and wait for the other group to receive their material too, so you can start at the same time. Okay? For the group 1, can you get for group 2. Group 3. And group 4. Okay class, I will only give you 30 seconds to do your activity. You can start at 1, 2, 3, go! Okay class, get back to your proper seats. So, according to 4 groups, group 3 is the first who paced their activity, followed by group 1, group 2, and group 4. Okay, let's give a clap for group 3. Very good guys. So now class, let's check if your answers are correct. Are you guys excited? Okay, now let's reveal the answer. So class, take a look if you got the right answer. For group number 1, very good. Okay, let's check for the other group. Caterpillar. Group number 2. Okay, you got the right answer. Very good, class. Bird. Alright, very good. And for the last group, group 4. Snake. Very good. Okay guys, you all got the right answer. Okay, give a round of applause to yourself guys. You did a great job. So now according to our rubrics, for the time duration, group 3 is the first. Then they will be given 5 points. Okay, give them 5 claps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For group number 1, 4 points. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 3 points for group number 2. 1, 2, 3. And for the last group, number 4, they only got 2 points. Okay, class, just give them a clap. 1, 2. Very good. Okay, class, how was your feeling? Are you feeling happy? Very good. Yeah, I'm also happy. Class, try to analyze those pictures. When you see those pictures, what comes in your mind? Okay. Any answer from the group? Okay, Miss Gia? Alright, your answer is correct. So, what do you think those processes in taking food in food chain? Okay, very good. So now guys, all of these pictures are connected to our topic for today. So guys, in our topic for today, here's our objectives. So let's read this together. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to define food web and draw the energy food pyramid and explain. So did you know guys that several food chains can make a food web? So our topic for today is food web. So who among you can define food web? Give me your idea. Mia. Very good. So now, okay, let's see what does food web means. Food web is a pattern of interlinked food chains in an ecosystem that represents the food relationships within a habitat or a territory. So here, class, is an example of food web. So you can see the rice plant, caterpillar, bird, and snake. So let us guys study about their connection. As you can see, rice plant is eaten by the caterpillar. Then caterpillar is taken by the bird. Then the bird is eaten by the snake. So in that several case, they are all connected. So guys, can you define how many food chain do we have in this figure? Any answer? Very good. We have 3 food chains. So, as I was said earlier, several food chains can make a food web. So now, let us study if how could it be possible to have a food web in food chain. So, as you can see guys, rice plant can be eaten by caterpillar. But suddenly, the bird can directly eat the rice plant. So, in that case, that is what we are talking food web. The energy food pyramid. It illustrates how the amount of stored energy from the sun is reduced as an organism gets farther away from the producer. So, energy pyramid can also be called a trophic pyramid or an ecological pyramid. So guys, we have an example of energy pyramid here. So take a look. In energy pyramid, we have 4 trophic levels. And at the first level, we have the producers. So, then the second level is primary consumers, the secondary consumer, and the tertiary consumers. Producers, also known as the autotrophs, make their own food. They make up the first level of every food chain. And they are also known as autotrophs. Autotrophs are usually plants or one called organisms. So, autotrophs use the process of photosynthesis where they create their food. It is a nutrient called glucose that can be get from the sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. So next is the primary consumers. So the organisms that eat the producers, they tend to be small in size and there are many of them. So primary consumers are known as herbivores or the vegetarians. Those are the animals who eat only vegetables or the autotrophs. Then the next one is the secondary consumers. Secondary consumers are organisms that eat primary consumers for energy. Secondary consumers, also known as carnivores, or they could be omnivores. Carnivores only eat other animals, while the omnivores eats both plants and animals. Tertiary consumers, they are usually at the top of the food chain. They are capable of feeding on secondary consumers and on the primary consumers. Tertiary consumers are also known as the apex predator. They can be either fully carnivores or omnivorous. And of course, humans are an example of a tertiary consumers because they eat both animals and the plants. So, class, did you understand? So, before we proceed to our next activity, may I ask you if you have some clarifications about our discussion? Do you have any question or concerns regarding what we have tackled? Anyone? Okay, none. So, now we can proceed to our next activity. Are you guys ready? Okay. So, for our next activity, let's divide the group into 4. Then, each group will have 5 members. Okay, class, choose your group leaders and your members. So, if you are ready, we can proceed to our next activity. So, let us check the instruction for your activity. Okay, class, for your second activity, here's your instruction. Draw your own energy pyramid and write the elements that corresponds to each trophic level. So here is your rubrics for creating your activity. We have accuracy and quality, cooperation, and the total score. For your criteria, so 5 points if the energy food pyramid is drawn and explained correctly and orderly. Then 4 points if it is drawn but not explained well or you did not illustrate your correct answer. Then 3 points if only the explanation or your answer is accurate on the drawing, but the drawing is less understandable. And 2 points if your drawing is incomplete and the elements are not properly placed. For the cooperation, we have 5 points if all the members cooperated, 4 points if 70% only of the member cooperated, then 3 points if 50% of the members cooperated. For the last group, we have 2 points if 30% of the members cooperated or less than. Okay, time's up. Now, it's time to check your answers, guys. So, okay, let's check it. Take a look at our groups. So, group 1, where's group 2? Okay, over there. Group 3 and 4. Okay, for the group 1, producer, check. Consumer, wrong. Apex. Okay, consider. 4. Okay, group 3. At the bottom, producer. Secondary. Okay. Tertiary. Right. Apex predator. Okay. But remember, next time you should do this more specific. Okay? For group 4, producer, primary. This is wrong. Okay, correct. For group 2, this is correct. Correct. Okay. Class, group 2 got the correct answers because first we have producer, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers, or the apex predator. Okay, reminder class, if you're doing your activities, so be sure that you answered it specifically or you answered it on what was the instruction. So guys, remember to always read the instruction and follow the instruction given to you to ensure that your activity would be good. Okay? So, okay. Let's give you all claps. Very good, guys. You did well and you have passed another activity. So now, it's time for your individual activity. So guys, let's move on from this. Okay, now let us focus on our next activity. Okay guys, bring out your paper and pen for our next activity. So, prepare 1/4 sheet of paper for this activity. Okay, sit properly guys and listen carefully because I will only read the question twice. So here's your instruction for your activity. Write T if the statement is true and write F if the statement is false. Okay, only write the capital letter T and F. So, here's your question for number 1. A food web is a pattern of interlinked food chains in an ecosystem. I repeat, a food web is a pattern of interlinked food chains in an ecosystem. Okay, write your answer. Next question. The energy pyramid illustrates how the amount of stored energy from the sun is reduced. Again, the energy pyramid illustrates how the amount of stored energy from the sun is reduced. Okay, for the next question, for number 3, the overlapping food web now becomes a food chain. I repeat, the overlapping food web now becomes a food chain. For number 4, energy is used in life processes such as decomposer, photosynthesis, and food chain. Again, energy is used in life processes such as decomposer, photosynthesis, and food chain. Okay guys, are you still with me? Very good. Okay, another question. For number 5, energy food pyramid is composed of producer, primary, secondary, and tertiary consumer. Again, energy food pyramid is composed of producer, primary, secondary, and tertiary consumer. For number 6, when we feed on plants, we get less energy. I repeat, when we feed on plants, we get less energy. Another question. Higher energy when we eat the higher order consumers. Again, higher energy when we eat the higher order consumers. Okay guys. Number 8. Several food chains make a food web. Number 8. Several food chains make a food web. And for number 9, food chains are interlinked because animals eat a variety of life forms. Again, food chains are interlinked because animals eat a variety of life forms. And for the last question, number 10, a food chain always begins with a producer. A food chain always begins with a producer. Okay, guys. Time's up. Exchange paper with your seatmates and let's check your answer. Postman. Okay, it's time to check your answer. For the number 1, a food web is a pattern of interlinked food chains in an ecosystem. Okay, what is your answer? Okay, stop guys. Quiet. So, for the number 1 is true. Number 2, the energy pyramid illustrates how the amount of stored energy from the sun is reduced. The correct answer is true. For number 3, the overlapping food web now becomes a food chain. The answer is false. Number 4, energy is used in life processes such as decomposer, photosynthesis, and food chain is false. For number 5, energy food pyramid is composed of producer, primary, secondary, and tertiary consumer. So what do you think is the answer, guys? Very good. It's true. And number 6, when we feed on plants, we get less energy. So the answer is false. Because when we feed on plants, we get more energy. Okay, number 7, higher energy when we eat the higher order consumers. For number 7, it is false. Number 8, several food chains make a food web. It is true. Food chains are interlinked because animals eat a variety of life forms. Number 9 is true. And for number 10, a food chain always begins with a producer. Number 10 is true. Okay. Now, count your scores. Okay? Who got perfect score? Okay, Mia. Very good. Okay. 9. Paulo. 8. Okay, very good. Then the rest. Okay, guys. Very good. Let's give a clap for all of you. Okay. Christian, collect all the papers of your classmates. And then, pass it to me later. Okay, class. How was your experience on doing your activity? Okay, very good. And as I observe, you also improve your mental sharpness and your cooperation with each other. So, just keep up the good work, guys. So, okay. For now, let's move on and let's proceed to our next activity. So, here's your evaluation. So, I give you here, fill in the blanks. Okay, guys, for this, prepare 1/2 sheet of paper. Okay, we have here 5 questions. So, are you guys ready? So, let's start. For the number 1, the space occupied by each organism is proportional to the blank it has. Again, the space occupied by each organism is proportional to the blank it has. Okay? Number 2, a blank represents the food relationships within a habitat or a territory. Number 2, a blank represents the food relationships within a habitat or a territory. Number 3, blank is interlinked. This gives rise to many food relationships. Again, for number 3, blank is interlinked. This gives rise to many food relationships. For number 4, the relationship becomes complicated depending on how far or how near the organism is from the blank. That relationship becomes complicated depending on how far or how near the organism is from the blank. And for the last item, the blank reminds humans that they get more energy when they feed on plants. The blank reminds humans that they get more energy when they feed on plants. Okay? Ball pens up. So, exchange your paper with your seatmates. Now, let's check your answers. For the number 1, the space occupied by each organism is proportional to the blank energy it has. So, the answer for number 1 is energy. Number 2, a blank represents the food relationships within a habitat or a territory. A blank, a food web. Okay, for number 2, the answer is food web. Number 3, blank is interlinked. This gives rise to many food relationships. For the number 3, food chain is interlinked. So the answer for number 3 is food chain. Okay? Number 4, the relationship becomes complicated depending on how far or how near the organism is from the blank. The answer is producer. And for number 5, the blank reminds humans that they get more energy when they feed on plants. So number 5 is pyramid. Okay? Count the scores. Then give it back to the owner of the paper. So now, who got 5? Very good. Let's give a round of applause for Aimee. Very good. So, 4. Okay, Jana. Christian. Very good. Then 3. Christine. Mia. Okay. Jake. Okay, very good, guys. Okay, 2 and below. Just raise your hands. Okay, very good. Let's give them a clap. Okay. So, Aimee, collect all the papers of your classmates. Then, give it to me later, after our class. Okay, class, for your assignment, in your science and health notebook, write your answer. Predict what will happen if some organisms or consumers become extinct. So, okay, copy it. So, class, before I left this room, kindly arrange your chairs and pick some piece of papers. Okay, that's all for today, class. Goodbye.